This is Mississippi Matters on Jackson 16 WAPT.
Thanks for joining us again this week. I'm Erin Pickens and this is Mississippi Matters. Tonight, my guest and I will be discussing a success story that hasn't gotten a lot of attention and is happening right here in the metro. While business is hurting across the country and population is dropping across our state, our Jackson metro area is experiencing something else: solid, unwavering growth. Take a look at the results from our latest census. Where state population fell, the greater metro area grew by 2%. If you look at just Hinds, Madison, and Rankin counties, that number jumps to over 5%. Median income for the metro outpaces the rest of the state by nearly $12,000. The metro employs a higher percentage of people, has a lower unemployment rate, a lower poverty rate, and the Tri-County area leads the state in high school diplomas and college degrees. Well, tonight we answer the question, what's driving this success? And we'll be exploring what's behind the capital area's growth, what's bringing in new business, new opportunities, those new jobs, and more people. Here to help answer those questions are two very special guests. We have Jeff Rent, the president and CEO of the Greater Jackson Chamber Partnership, as well as senior vice president of economic development. We also have Willie Jones, the president and CEO of Dependable Source Corporation, a workforce development center. Also, the president of Women for Progress from Mississippi. Thank you all both for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
So, Willie, I want to start with you. A female-owned business. We've had you on before talking about your success. Yeah. Tell us what you've seen here in the past year during the pandemic of the success story.
So many exciting things. You know, we hear about a lot of the negative things that happen because of COVID and the pandemic and crisis. And yes, there were substantial things, but also we have exciting things going on. So many women-owned businesses that are now beginning to not only just survive, but now beginning to thrive again and growth. And also we're looking at the many opportunities that COVID has also kind of pushed forward for us when we talk about the future of work. Jobs in tech and in other industries like transportation and construction, etc. And then I think a lot of Mississippians has taken advantage of a lot of the opportunities that have come to Mississippi around financial assistance and help. And then I think the exciting thing, I think we're just now getting people back to work again. I know employers are excited about that because we continue to be challenged around getting people back to work, restaffing our offices, but it's great news. I think we see a lot of momentum toward that. People now beginning to pivot and say, what do I need, what my future work needs to look like? Yeah. So it's exciting news.
And I know too, with you doing workforce development, a lot of people during this time maybe changed careers or changed their path. Have you seen a lot of that?
Yeah, I see substantial number of individuals pivoting. A lot of their jobs and employers just didn't come back online, you know, after COVID, the initial effects of COVID. But now people are looking at other opportunities that they didn't look at before, and truck driving is one of them. We see such a diversity in the participants at the academy now. We see people who are retired that's coming back and getting into the industry. Of course, CNAs and people in the health industry are, you know, they had a lot of challenges around COVID, life-threatening challenges. So they're looking to move out of those professions into other opportunities. And then also, of course, women and young people. Our young people are looking at these opportunities in tech, which we have Mississippi Coding Academy there, and also truck driving. And then these industries provide so much diversity. If you're looking for higher paying wages, and that's what a lot of young people are, really all of us are looking for higher paying skilled jobs. These industries provide that for them. And of course, a lot of what I see with a lot of young people, they don't just want to do an 8-to-5 job. They want to build their own businesses. They want to become entrepreneurs. They want to be part of the higher fabric of workforce and economic development. So we see a lot of that. So a lot of things happening, and also diversity of that, you know, from people from all walks of life are looking for a really great, better future for themselves.
Yeah, so much change. We're going to delve into the trucking part of this with the supply chain here a little bit later on. But Jeff, okay, what about you? What have you seen over this past, almost 2 years now, huh?
You know, it's been a really interesting journey, you know, through the beginning of the pandemic to where we are today. So in 2020, we worked on the economic development side, which means actively recruited projects. We only had about 6 of them in 2020 that came across my desk. Now, there was other economic activity in the area, and these are companies that were looking to locate within the region. So far in 2021, I've had about 21 projects that we have worked actively. And then when you look at the entire state, we have seen that uptick in companies actively looking to come to Mississippi because of the advantages we provide. We have that great workforce. They are skilled, they are trainable, and we still have an incredibly affordable area here in central Mississippi and throughout the state, so your cost of living also is another big advantage. But to what Willie does in the logistics area, as far as helping train people for these new careers, perhaps in truck driving, that's incredibly important to the makeup of our area, because we are just perfectly positioned to really capitalize on industry between Atlanta and Dallas and Memphis and New Orleans. Our geographic location is also another huge advantage. And this is similar to what we saw coming out of the recession in 2013. We saw a huge uptick in activity, companies coming to Mississippi, and COVID slowed things down, and now everybody's ready to hit the ground running again. And it's an exciting time to be doing this.
Definitely. Now, I know you probably talked to a lot of business owners, a lot of company owners. What are some of the things you've heard from them during this time?
Yeah, I just happened to be at one of our global companies a couple of days ago, and the manager there is from out of state, had not been to Mississippi before until he moved here to work at this manufacturer. And he said, hands down, and this is a man with 30 years experience, he said, this might be the best workforce I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
And we don't get enough credit for that. And it's our job to sell the workforce here. We also, like Willie does, you know, we look to get good jobs, not just jobs, but jobs that pay well, so we can increase wages for our people, and that gets more people included and active back into the workforce. So our labor participation right now is around 63.5% for this area, much higher than the rest of the state. So people here are working and looking for jobs, but we still have a few challenges. Service industries, they're having a hard time finding people because people have decided to reskill. So, you know, and those are great jobs teaching important skills to people. Those soft skills, you know, showing up on time.
Customer service.
Customer service is huge. And so trying to get people to, you know, start their workforce journey perhaps with one of those service industry jobs is also very important. We want our restaurants and our hotels and all those other service providers to be just as successful as our Continental Tires or our banking industries or even our truck driving industries.
Right. I know curbside service is something that I got so accustomed to during the pandemic. I loved it, but a couple of restaurants had to pull back because of staffing. I'm like, oh, but I loved curbside. It's one of those little things we got used to and happy about, but they had to pull back because of staffing. So, and then with the people that you see coming through with, again, workforce development, what are some of the stories that you've heard?
Some amazing stories. I especially like the diversity piece. I mean, we've had grandmothers that come into trucking. We've had people who have been working in all other types of industry that are coming into place. But I think one of the exciting things too, even for us in the Jackson metro area, is many employers have increased their wages because of the challenges around COVID. I mean, I think, you know, I talked to a lot of businesses, employers before COVID, and now when I'm going back and having those conversations, their wages have increased substantially. Wow. Even in the trucking and transportation industry, I've had 3 of my motor carrier partners have increased their wages 3 times in the last 12 months. It was just unheard of, even in the trucking industry, where the wages are already high-skilled jobs. But that's good news. That's good news for folks. And then we think about the benefit challenges around healthcare, the cost of healthcare. These industries, all of them provide high benefits regarding healthcare and medical coverage. And if for nothing else, you know, we can't do anything around employment. Individuals can't get the work if they're not healthy. And these opportunities to provide great health care. So there's so many opportunities there. And I think when we talk about the growth that has happened in the Jackson metro area, it all comes back, I think, to on a large scale about young people and what they're looking for. Young people like urban cities because of what they bring, the entertainment, the culture, the high-skilled jobs, and even high-skilled jobs that may be outside of the metro. Jackson is sitting centrally to all of that opportunity. So they said, hey, let me live in Jackson. My job may be outside of the metro, but I want to live and have a good quality of life here. So there's that entertainment, and from concerts to networking to everything else that Jackson brings to it, and the metro area as a whole bring to it. So I think it's good for young people. I think Jackson and the metro area is set up to make sure that we hold on to those young people. You know, we hear a lot about brain drain, but Jackson and the metro area has what it takes to hold on to our young people. We just have to be strategic and make sure that we're connecting them to those opportunities here.
I think it's so funny because, you know, I teach college students, I teach at Tougaloo, and so many times you hear people complain about, oh, the millennials.
Yeah.
I have learned a lot from the millennials, okay?
Yes.
I mean, it's like
Yes.
a learning thing for me, too.
Right.
So it's like, it's great to have, like, the young
Right.
skills, the young
Yeah.
minds, so we love that.
Yeah.
And we're going to finish up this first segment, and we'll be back in just a moment to pick up more about the supply chain and hear more from Jeff about what young people bring to the table. Keep it right here. Mississippi Matters is coming back in just a moment.
This is Mississippi Matters on Jackson 16 WAPT.
Welcome back to Mississippi Matters, everyone. We're talking about some good things that are happening in the Jackson Metro right now, specifically talking about population growth and people that are working, some success stories in that area. We have Jeff Rent with us today and Willie Jones. Have been a good conversation here about what's been happening here in this area. We were talking about young people a second ago. Jeff, pick up on that conversation. What have you all seen as far as like the younger, maybe the 20-year-olds who are coming to do something with work?
You know, we're really seeing a lot of focus on attracting younger talent. And we mentioned the brain drain, where we're losing a lot of our college graduates. And that's a normal sort of cycle that occurs. You know, I'm from somewhere else and I was ready to go somewhere else. But what you need then is the exchange where we're attracting that talent from other areas. Now, if you look at what's going on in the city of Jackson and the region, we really are developing those assets that are very important to a Gen Z, a millennial, even to somebody my age, those entertainment type venues. You've got the Brandon Amphitheater, which is now getting large national acts. Then you look at the urban housing in downtown Jackson, everything from the Edison Walthall coming online to the courthouse right next door to it, which those places are beautifully finished. And so more and more housing, and at an affordable price point, also very attractive, especially to the younger generation that's frankly right now hard to jump into the housing market where that has gone. And then you have developments in Belhaven with the Fertile Ground Brewery, which is also very important, and the new restaurants popping up. And then just take a quick look at what's going on in Fondren.
Yes.
You know, the Ed's Burgers, the bowling alley, the Capri Theater. That's really going to anchor that area, attracting younger people, 20 plus, and we think we're really going to see that growth in those parts of the city and the region. And then we have no shortage of outdoor options either. I mean, the reservoir, and if you hunt and fish, you've got great options and even attractions for children, from the zoo over to, you know, the Children's Museum. So we really have a lot, and it's incumbent upon us to promote those assets, to tell our story, and don't let somebody else tell it for us.
Correct, because you hear so many times people say, oh, there's nothing to do in Jackson. This past weekend alone, JSU Parade, JSU Homecoming, then I went to the amphitheater for the Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. So there's a lot that happens in this area. So just kind of maybe flip through the pages or let us know, and you know, we'll connect you to all those things, because there's a lot going on. You mentioned development in Fondren, and we've seen a lot of, as we say, dirt turning, a lot of building and construction going on. That just goes to show how construction was still going, you know, during the pandemic. Also, too, the housing market, that shocked me. My friends who are realtors, that business just was booming and booming and booming. I was like, wow.
And continues to, and you know, shortage right now, you know, of available properties, or you're getting, if you're a seller, this is your time, obviously, and any realtor will tell you that, you know, you're getting a premium now for your property if you are selling. So, and that's why it's also important to have that an intentional mix of affordable and available rental space as well. So those apartments coming online downtown really will help ease some of that tension in the housing market. But yeah, it's an amazing time right now, almost unprecedented, I would say.
Right, and who knew? Who would have, thought that COVID, with so many of the negative things that happened with COVID, that this would be something that would come out of it. Well, Willie, I do want to talk to you about trucking and the supply chain. We've heard so much about the supply chain, and we've heard so much about across the country that there's a lack of truck drivers, and some of that is what's leading into. Tell us more about what you know and how people can get into the trucking industry if they've never thought about that.
Yeah. Well, my corporation, we've been in the business over 30 years, and there's always been a tight demand for truck drivers. But I've never seen it as tight as it is right now. A lot of it's due to what's been happening with COVID. Of course, trucking and transportation are essential jobs. It impacts all of our quality of lives. If you go into a store and your shelves are empty, that's trucking. You know, that making sure we have enough truck drivers out there to get the products moved, and because it touches every part of our lives. So there's a big demand for that now. I think many motor carriers nationwide are struggling with solutions to be able to overcome that. I am always excited to share the information that one of the top 3 solutions that transportation experts are saying is we need to hire more women. And so, you know, and being a woman myself, a mother and a grandmother, those are great opportunities. This first quarter of 2021, our enrollment at our DSC Training Academy has tripled with the number of women, and it continues to grow at women, and diverse women from all ages, from all walks of life. So that's great, great, great news. Even couples that come in, husband and wives come in and saying, let's use this as an opportunity to grow together, create our own business or get out there on the road together or whatever it may be. So, and I think one of the overwhelming things when we think about trucking and transportation, because it's so essential to all of our lives, that's where we get all of this exposure. When we talk about logistics, everything has to be moved from point A to point B, no matter what it is. And when we talk about infrastructure, we talked about housing, transportation is the key to all of that. So that's where the big opportunities are. And then I say to women, it is the only industry where there is no glass ceiling. There are so many different opportunities, from management to logistics managers to warehouse managers to fleet managers to dispatchers to truck brokers. There are so many opportunities out there, not just for women, for anybody who wants to get into the industry. And it provides a clear pathway to jobs and careers. And a lot of businesses can't say that. We talked about our young people who are graduating 4-year universities that may be coming out with accounting degree and other degrees. We know a lot of them, when you first come out with that diploma, you may not get into that industry that you're in. But in trucking, we're talking about first year, right out of the door, people are making $50,000 to $70,000 the very first year, and then all the business opportunities and stuff there. So it's crucial to us. It's exciting. You know, we talked about young people and the brain drain and the opportunities, but also the future of work is going to focus around people also where location is not the concern. So when we look at young people and keeping our young people here, Mississippi Coding Academy, who provides coding and training opportunities, if you're a coder, you can do that from home. You know, it doesn't matter. We can keep those people here in the city of Jackson. They may be working for a tech company out of Silicon Valley or Washington or Seattle or wherever, but they live here in the city of Jackson. So there are many opportunities like that. Just like truck driving, you may haul, you know, all 48 states or a particular region, but when your downtime happens, you're going to come home to Jackson in the state of Mississippi, and you're going to spend your dollars here. You're going to empower your families here. So I think the future of work is going to focus a lot on that too. I think when we talk about opportunities and ways that we can keep young people here, I think jobs in tech is going to be big. We need to spend more time and effort there. And then what I'm finding is too, with young people, and even the ones that come to the academy for these other jobs, they are such innovative. They have so much talent and skill. I mean, I had recently a gentleman that was going through the truck driver training program, but he brought me a art design that he did just was a great piece of art. Next thing you know, before he graduated in 4 weeks, that piece of art got hot fire, and it was selling through, not only through our academy, but sharing it to other people. He was able to sell several different pieces. So there's so much talent that's within our people here in the city of Jackson and state of Mississippi. So how do we develop some time and effort and money to making sure that we draw that innovation, not on the areas of art and culture, but how do we develop all of our other opportunities here in working to make sure that we take advantage of that. So some exciting things are going on around workforce development. People just got to ask questions. We got to network together. We got to share the information. And then we as economic and business developers make sure that we work together to pull all of that talent out for the success of Jackson and the state of Mississippi.
Absolutely. You said it best. I was going to say, just ask the question, and that will lead to that.
Yeah.
We're back in just a moment.
This is Mississippi Matters on Jackson 16 WAPT.
Welcome back, everyone. We've had a great discussion here tonight about the growth that's happening in the Jackson metro area. I want to get some closing thoughts from our guest right now. Jeff, we'll start with you.
You know, Aaron, I think we've experienced a lot of negativity and challenges due to COVID, and you know, I'm thankful for you having this conversation with us this evening, because there's a lot of positive things going on, and they're happening in Jackson, in the Jackson metropolitan area. We've seen population growth where the state has seen a small decline. We are seeing new companies very interested in coming here, and that's because they're interested in our workforce. We have available locations for them, and we have a great quality of life. And it's very easy to look past those when you see it every day. But we have entertainment options, we have available housing at all different levels. We have the complete package, and it's getting better. The product is, and we call that our product and economic development. Whether it's the community, our workforce, or our sites, we have all of those, and we're just working very hard right now on marketing that, not only to people here in Mississippi, but outside the borders and even internationally.
Yeah, and I think with I-55, I-20 running right through here, so logistically, I know for you, that's like awesome. And then that's what makes this Jackson metro area such a great spot and so centrally located for so many big things. Okay, closing thoughts from you, Willie?
Yeah, I think I want to close by just pushing out there that I think the big priority is getting people back to work. It's not only success to families to get that income going and flowing through our communities, but also for our businesses. Our restaurants need good people. There's so many great opportunities there. I see business and restaurants advertising every day, but there's other businesses also. I want people to really reach out if they don't know where to start, or they're kind of sitting in a place right now, they're not sure what direction they want to go. I want them to call out and reach people. Call the chamber, call workforce development centers like DSC, and so many others. They just need to find a person to begin the dialogue, because we need people back to work. And there's some higher paying skilled jobs with great businesses and opportunity. If you're an entrepreneur and you got a business idea, you want support around that. If you're a woman and you want to launch a new business, or you want help with support with your current woman-owned businesses, there is real opportunity out there. So I think the biggest thing we have to do is to get people back to work.
Great closing words, yes indeed. And again, don't be scared to ask those questions. Willie Jones, Jeff Rent, thank you both so much for joining us tonight. Great discussion, and everyone, you see the great things that are happening here in this Jackson metro area. Be a part of that as well. And again, get on social media and share your thoughts and ideas as well. Thank you so much for joining us for Mississippi Matters. Until next time, I'm Erin Pickens.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.